couple of weeks ago, I had an epiphany. Throughout my journey of building businesses so far, I always thought that my time would come. And although you need to think positively at all times, I didn't even realize how much I actually hurt my own progress thinking that way. Then a couple of weeks ago, I had a conversation with my consultant because my business partner and I thought things were going well and we were progressing. But after we had that meeting, we were actually quite in shock. In my mind, we were progressing, we were moving the business forward, we were increasing the revenue. In my mind, we were doing well. I actually thought that we were on track to hit our target, but that wasn't the case. We were underperforming and we were too slow. He said that we were focusing on the wrong activities and that we had no idea how to manage our time effectively. That really hit home. We were laid back and didn't even realize it. This is, by the way, the sole reason as to why most people never get to live the life that they actually want to live. They are complacent with themselves. Their standards are way too low. That's why in this video, I'm going to give you life-changing advice that everybody from beginner to intermediate to professional level has to know if they want to scale and grow their company. Whether that's going from 50K to 500K or even just 0 to 10, it applies in all areas. I will now give you the full breakdown on everything it takes to grow to 500K months and beyond. To make this breakdown more structured, I divided the whole video into 8 different sections. This is in no particular order and every single one of the 8 sections are equally as important. When we realized that we were moving too slow, I pulled back the curtains and investigated what I would have to change in my own behavior to manifest the reality that I actually wanted. This is exactly what gets you to 500K months, and that gets me to point number 1. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Throughout my entire career, I spoke to multiple 7- and 8-figure business owners, and the number one commonality that every single one of them shared was obsession. They were mentally and physically obsessed with their numbers and data into the smallest detail, recruiting more and more A players on a daily basis and perfecting everything into the smallest detail. I was the one that always used to preach progress over perfection. And although it's obviously better to take action than standing still waiting for the perfect time to arrive, that actually wasn't the situation I was in. And it's likely not the same situation you are in either. Because I was in a situation where I was already doing the things, running the business and progressing every single day. The problem was that I wasn't hyper obsessed about the little detail. The one single digit that would have to change, the one single part of the color on the logo, on the funnel that would have to change to make more money long term. The conclusion that I made for you here is that you have to be literally obsessed with your craft. Obsession beats talent every single time. You've heard it before and I know you know it's true. If you obsess about making every single detail perfect, you will outscale all of your competitors. And at the end of the day, business is a competition. Which brings me to point number 2. Do it now. This is a simple one, but as you know, most people need to be reminded more than taught. And most people, as you know, are going through life waiting for the perfect time to start. They think that when X happens, then I can finally start doing Z. But that's not how you create the life that you want to live. To truly get what you want, you have to make reality bend at your will whenever you desire to do so. You can manifest the reality that you want through a technique that I call selfless zone. When you get into the selfless zone, you don't think about the past, the future, or even yourself. You're just literally going with the flow on a daily basis in every single moment that you live and doing the things that you think are most important right now. As you know, looking at the past will always make you sad. Looking into the future will always make you anxious. But if you truly learn to detach, not think about yourself, just live in the moment and go with the flow and just do the things that are important. In other words, stop overthinking. You will be so present. You'll be more effective than you've ever been before in your entire life. Which brings me to point number 3, lead from the front. If you look at any successful speaker, role model, or hero, all of them share one commonality. Every single one of them has a unique way in which they see the world. They have unique opinions, unique stories, and a unique way of presenting themselves. That's why anybody that tries to copy other people will inevitably fail. From interpreting my actual own situation, I can guarantee you one thing: you are not unique. Now, please hold on. I'm really not trying to insult you here, but I'm trying to make you realize something. Every single one of us consumes information on a daily basis. That information makes up what we believe. And the sets of beliefs that we have form our identity. The problem is that over the last 5 years, the overload of information that people consume on a daily basis has increased drastically, meaning that the only thing that forms our beliefs at this very moment, and therefore our identities, is the overload of information that we get indoctrinated with online. Do you sometimes notice how you're not being yourself anymore? You're just expressing other people's opinions most times. That's the exact problem I'm talking about. To make a lot of money, you have to serve a lot of people. To serve a lot of people, you have to be a leader. But to be a leader, you have to be able to do things your way. You have to be able to do things in your own unique style, which again, in today's day and age, gets harder and harder every single time. Luckily, I have a solution for all of that for you as well. I call it think time. Most people can't think for themselves anymore. But if you truly want to succeed, you have to be able to think for yourself. From now on, I need you to do one thing on a daily basis. Every single day, just give yourself 10 minutes to think and process your own thoughts. You will start thinking for yourself and you will start building your own unique opinions. And once those are developed enough, then you can start expressing them to other people and at some point to the entire internet. That's how you bring unique perspectives into the market, get people to follow you, therefore establishing yourself as a leader, and therefore you can serve a lot more people. In other words, you will start to attract and not chase. Which brings me to point number 4. Questions dictate focus. Most people don't really know or understand this statement, although it literally dictates all the revenue that your company makes. Whenever you ask a question, the answer is exactly what you focus on. For example, when you ask the question of what close rate do we have, you start to focus on the close rate itself, not whether or not it's within KPI. When you start asking, is our close rate within the KPI of 40%, you will be able to identify bottlenecks way faster. If you don't ask about your sales team's daily numbers, then you're tapping in the dark. If you don't ask yourself what the most important metric is, you're literally trying to drive a car without even seeing the highway. When you don't ask yourself, what can I do today to bring the company another 50K in revenue, you might start to get complacent with yourself. And that brings me to point number 5. Understand improvement cycles. Most people are just doing the bare minimum, and that's okay if you just want to make like 5K a month or so. But for the ones that actually want to generate significant revenue, this is truly important. You need to understand improvement cycles. To make more money, you need to get better. And to get better, you need to do more of what you're doing right now. If you do one webinar every 3 months, that means you have 4 improvement cycles every single year. If you do one every week, you have 52 improvement cycles every year. The better you are at hosting the webbies, the more money you make. So doing more of what you do isn't important because volume negates luck. It's actually important because you want to get better faster with shorter improvement cycles. Your skill set and knowledge increase faster, and therefore you get paid more faster. Point number 6. Environment. Unlike what most people think, environment isn't just the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Your environment is the clients you have, the way you talk to yourself, and most importantly, where you live. Do you live in an area where there's a lot of money, people are wealthy, you see money and wealth every day, and people surround you with a positive motivational energy? If not, then you have clear work to do, because the things you see on a daily basis have a powerful effect on you. They influence your perspective. If you live somewhere in the countryside, you won't see much money around you. No expensive cars, no fancy 5-star hotels, no fancy restaurants. Now, although there's nothing wrong with that, and I can only advise you to get into nature as often as you possibly can, if you don't have much money around you, then you won't even see the possibilities and opportunities, because subconsciously you at some point don't even think it exists. Your environment can push you immensely or limit you completely. So make sure to understand your circumstances and how they affect you. In accordance to your goals, change it. That brings me to point number 7, which is the art of communication. As we spoke about before, you have to be able to effectively communicate to succeed. But that means being able to communicate with any individual at any level that you speak to. What I mean by level is this. Every single person has a certain rank in society. Now, I don't mean one person is a better human than the other one. What I do mean is that if we assess just financial stability, then the billionaire has a higher rank than the millionaire. And as I said, this is just from a financial perspective. To put yourself into the right positions, you need to be able to communicate with people in accordance to the rank that they have. What do I mean by this? Very simple. Rather unsophisticated people in the realms of money will communicate completely differently to people that are very sophisticated in the realms of money. These types of people will communicate way differently than somebody just entering their first job. How do they communicate? The rather unsophisticated person will usually take more time. They will have less urgency. They will respect their own and also other people's time less. They will send a lot of long voice notes, they will talk to people on the phone a lot, and they will just, generally speaking, not respect their time a lot. On the other hand, the billionaire likes to be to the point. He only uses text messages, short and sweet, to the point. No voice memos, no video notes, no calls, no nothing. He has to be able to identify whether the message is worth responding to or not in the first split second of seeing it. Why? Because they respect their time so much. And this doesn't only go for billionaires. This goes for any person that makes a lot of money, because usually these people value their time more than anything else. Therefore, they will not reply back to you if your text is too long or you send a voice note, video note, or call. It's not worth their time to call you back. And that's how you have to communicate. Be straightforward, to the point, short and sweet, few words. If you speak to somebody that's rather unsophisticated, obviously you can use those mechanisms, but mainly they also act emotionally. Not only do they not respect their time as much, but they also act more emotionally. So you can connect with them on a deeper emotional level. Somebody with more money is usually more logical, more objective. So you have to communicate with them on a data-driven, logical base. Point number 8, growth culture. A growth culture amplifies revenue, speed, and profits 100-fold. We had one particular client, he was doing around 20K per month when he first joined us. He had 3 sales reps and he was doing the closing himself. The first thing that we did when we came in is we implemented a direct booker call funnel, because they didn't get leads from enough different sources, therefore putting all of their eggs into one basket, which, if you know anything about acquisition, isn't a good thing to do. Now, to be clear, after we implemented that direct booker call funnel, they were instantly booking 10 meetings every single day, which meant that for the 3 sales reps that they had in the company, they had to handle qualification and triaging. They were super slow. And by slow, I literally mean C-player slow. Within 24 hours, we replaced all 3 reps with absolute killers. Because as you know, sales is a high performance sport, and that's how you have to treat your reps as well. From there on, the client went to scale from 20K a month to 100K per month within 8 weeks. As I said, the only change we made was implement a direct booker call funnel. So they had their eggs in multiple different baskets. When they were getting more appointments, we saw that he had C players. We instantly replaced all of them with A player material, 20K per month to 100K per month within 8 weeks. I make very sure that I'm very aware of every single one of these 8 pillars on a daily basis, and it quite literally changed my entire business. As you know, the most important part to all of this is the implementation. So make sure to first understand this video, but then implement what we talked about right away. It's by far the best move that you can make. This video was incredibly valuable. If you did find value, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll post a lot more of these value bombs in the future.